The third of the patriarchs, Jacob, has to run away from his home. Why? Because his brother wants to kill him. His twin brother was older. He was born just before him. Why did his twin brother want to kill him? Well, actually, Jacob once negotiated the rights of the firstborn for lentil soup that he gave to his brother who came from hunting and was very hungry. Instead of saying, brother, here is something, he asked for something in return. And then he did something terrible. He disguised himself as if he were his brother and received the paternal blessing of the second patriarch, Isaac. And when Esav, his brother, heard about it, he came before the father, and the father said, somebody came here and already took the blessing from you. He swore he was going to kill him when his father was no longer alive. The mother, Rivka, heard about it, and she decided that it would be best that Jacob run away from home, get away from the ire of his brother. Where did she tell him to go? She told him to go to her family in Haran, far away from there. But actually, that was a family of idol worshippers. How come she sent him there? Maybe she felt, I come from there, and yet I was able to get out of that environment of idolatry. Jacob will probably be able to do the same thing. I remember there was an American president when he was asked, how can you support this guy, this tyrant in Latin America, I know in Central America? He said, he's a son of a bitch. Well, you're right, he's our son of a bitch. Well, this is a joke. In any event, you feel that your own family is somehow different. So the Torah says, Jacob ran away, vayifga b'makom. Vayifga b'makom, he came to that place. What was that place? According to our rabbis, that was the same place that years later, the Beit HaMikdash was going to be built upon. It's the same place where Isaac was tied as a possible sacrifice to God. It was a holy place. Somehow, Jacob, when he came to the place, he felt history there. Sometimes, haven't you met somebody and you feel you've seen him before? We know through our five senses, through our minds, some say through our senses, through our hearts, but there are other ways of knowing things also. Our rabbis tell us that when the fetus is in its mother's womb yet, an angel comes and teaches the fetus the entire Torah. But just before he's born, he hits him in the upper lip. This is why we have some kind of mark on the upper lip in the middle, because an angel hit us and made us forget the entire Torah. What good is it to have studied the Torah and to have forgotten it? Maybe our rabbis are trying to tell us that when you learn the Torah, you're not learning it for the first time. You are sort of remembering what you forgot. You knew it already. Maybe it's in your DNA, in the blood that runs through your veins, what your ancestors did. You're not only what your five senses perceive, your mind, you're also part of a long history. Is this world a material world? Of course. There are galaxies, there are stars, an expanding universe, matter all over. But there's also something called dark matter that we don't understand. And lately there's also something called string theory that really says matter isn't matter. It's a question of strings, of vibrations in this world. Maybe reality isn't exactly what we think it is. So I say to you, of course, you guide yourself by what you perceive, by what you learn, but there are other means of learning also. Jacob came to that place and he saw there was a ladder that was placed on the earth and reached heaven, and angels of God were going up and down, that there's a relationship between earth and heaven. He realized that material things aren't the only things in this world. There are other things as well. So therefore, guide yourself, of course, by what you study, by what you read, what you can prove, the scientific method. But remember, that isn't the only way of learning. What is music? It somehow warms the spirit of man. Can you really somehow translate it into something physical? We really don't know. There are many emotions that guide our lives that cannot really be systematically measured in some form or another. So I say, keep your feet on the ground. Don't live in fantasies. But on the other hand, allow your mind to dream also. Remember that there's a ladder that unites earth and heaven. You can ascend every day a new scale, a new step on that ladder, and rise above maybe the earthly things that tie you down.